About a month ago, I released a video explaining some rulings in Battle Spirits Saga. Naturally, because I'm so well-spoken and all-knowing, I was able to answer every single question that anyone could ever have when playing this game. Okay, obviously that's not the case. So let's do it again. Let's go over some more rulings questions that aren't necessarily going to be answered just from reading the basic rule sheet you get in the starter deck. For example, despite what the basic rule sheet might suggest, the maximum amount of life you can have is not 6. In fact, unlike OG Battle Spirits, there is no maximum life. So go nuts with those blessed spirits. Burning Force is one of the most common magic cards you'll encounter in Battle Spirits Saga, so it's important to know that you can activate this card even if your opponent only has a single spirit that's 3k or less. This is one of those games where you do as much as possible on the card. That being said, if your opponent does have 2 spirits with 3000 or less, and you play Burning Force to destroy spirits, you must destroy both of the spirits. In other words, if your opponent has an Oviraptidon and a Flamefish with a Soul Core, you can't just choose to destroy the Oviraptidon. You must destroy both. Heavy Tank Curiosity has a bit of a unique effect, where at level 2, during the attack step, it protects itself and your other mecha spirits from destruction effects by exhausting the spirit. A couple of things to note about this effect. First, if say a volcanic break targets Curiosity while it's already exhausted, Curiosity's effect will still protect it. Second, let's say your level 2 Curiosity attacks, and on flash timing, the opponent plays Volcanic Break, paying the Soul Core, of course, targeting said Curiosity. Again, Curiosity is protected from destruction thanks to its effect. But, just as important to know, the attacking Curiosity is not removed from the battle, and the attack still continues. With all of that being said, remember, Curiosity only protects from destruction effects, so battle is still fair game, as well as reducing its BP to 0 through effects like Angelic Pressure and Exhaust Nexus. Speaking of the attack step, let's go over one more thing related to this part of the game. If your spirit is in the refreshed state during your attack step, you may use it to attack. I know this sounds obvious, but what if you attack with a spirit, and later, during that same attack step, the spirit is refreshed with something like a regain? Can you attack with it again? Yes you can. As long as a spirit is refreshed and no card effect says otherwise, there's no limit to the amount of times a spirit can attack in a given turn. In my previous rulings video, I talked about the armor keyword. Based on the comments I read, there seemed to be a bit of confusion on this point, especially on how it interacts with deadly balance. Armor protects the spirit from being selected by opponent's effects. If your opponent plays deadly balance while you have a spirit with armor purple, that spirit cannot be selected. You would have to select a different spirit that doesn't have purple armor. If you have no other spirits that can be selected, then you don't need to destroy any of your spirits. I will also add that if you play Deadly Balance, while the only spirit you control is a spirit with purple armor, you must select and destroy that spirit. Remember, armor only protects from your opponent's effects, not your own. With zero-cost spirits on the horizon, I figured it would be a good time to go over this particular ruling. As you're aware, most spirits have reductions to their costs, and when paying the cost of playing your cards, you can use cores from your own spirits. If you so wish, you can even use the last remaining core on a spirit, causing it to be destroyed from not having enough cores to sustain itself at level 1. But how does that play into reduction costs? Let's say we have 2 red spirits on the field and we really want to summon a quicksand dragon. Just go with it, okay? But the only cores we have available right now are the 2 cores split among our 2 red spirits. Thanks to the reduction symbols, we only need to pay 1 core for the cost. and this stays the case even if one of our spirits would essentially be sacrificed in the process. And of course, we still need a core to put the quicksand dragon at level 1, so we'd also have to say bye-bye to our other spirit. All of this is to say that you will not lose any of your reduction symbols from spirits when you use all of their cores when paying the cost for one of your other cards. With that being said, let's shift gears and talk about Beldegor. You have a Beldegor in your discard, and one of your 4-cost spirits was just destroyed. You use Beldegor's immortal ability. Do you count the symbol on the destroyed spirit when paying Beldegor's cost? The answer is no. At the time Beldegor's immortal effect triggers, the destroyed spirit is already in your discard. So if you don't have any other purple cards on the field, you will have to pay the full cost of 3 of Beldegor. And while we're talking about Beldegor, let's say your Beldegor and another spirit that happens to be a 4-cost are destroyed at the same time by your opponent's Burning Force. Can you trigger that same Beldegor's immortal effect? The answer is also no. This is because Beldegor must be in the discard when the destruction of the 4-cost spirit occurs. Sometimes you'll encounter situations when both you and your opponent will have an effect to trigger at the same time. For example, if your cornered flame rat just dealt damage and your opponent activates their set burst dream bomb, which effect applies first? In general, if effects trigger simultaneously like this, the turn player always gets to decide in what order the effects resolve in. Slightly different situation, let's say it's now your end step. You have a Librarian Saga that boosted itself by 3000 with its effect, but it was also the victim of your opponent's Exhaust Nexus that same turn. Both Librarian and Exhaust Nexus state that their effects occur during this turn. So, which effect ends first? Does the Librarian live or die? Once again, when it comes to resolving these effects, the turn player gets to decide which effects to resolve first. So, if done right, the Librarian gets to live. Finally, let's talk about a specific interaction between 2 cards, Star Blessed Draw and Rocket City. Rocket City's level 2 effect reads, when your opponent draws outside of their draw step, they must discard a card. Let's say your opponent controls a level 2 Rocket City, and you just activated your set burst Star Blessed Draw, paying the cost to use its main effect in addition to the burst effect. After your Star Blessed Draw resolves, how many cards will you have to discard due to Rocket City? The answer is just 1. In this case, your Star Blessed Draw is drawing you 4 cards all at once, not draw 2 and then another draw 2. That's because this is all considered to be only 1 effect, not 2. Thus, the Rocket City only triggers once. I hope you found this video to be helpful. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Battle Spirits Saga content. Until next time, laters.